What is going on, y'all? On Warren Cars, back again with another car buyer's guide. Today we are going to be going over the Audi A8, specifically the D4 chassis code. This in the United States went from 2011 to 2018. And I guess if you're not familiar with what I do here on the channel, I go over not only the features of the car, but also the options. I'm really into specs, so I'll dive deep into the options for the car, what was available. Specifically for the United States market, because for a lot of these cars, they did vary around the world. But for this channel specifically, we're going to be doing United States market cars. And then, so I'll go over that, the options, and then the problems that you should look for with this car specifically. I'm not going to go over every single problem because obviously these cars, a lot of them are really complicated and a lot of problems can occur. But I'm trying to go over the most common ones, the ones that are going to be the most popular. And then after that, I go over some ads, some examples of actual cars online that are for sale right now. So you guys can see what's on the market and what you should be looking for when shopping for these cars. Cool. Some announcements. Don't forget to join my Discord. I'll show you right here. Shout out to members right now. 5 members of the Discord. Shout out to all of y'all. Always supporting the channel. So what this is where I put the links to the information I talk about during the show. So let's see, I'm gonna copy this file. Oops. Over there. Publish, share with others. Cool. There we go, the Audi A8 notes. Also, don't forget to follow me on my socials. They're in the description. Instagram. Hey, shout out to you, Wes. What's good? Yeah, man. Love to see people in the chat. We gotta go off-roading again, man. We'll take my LS off-roading. All right. Cool. Yeah, so we'll start with the features, options, and problems for the Audi A8. Going in theme with this week we're doing luxury sedans, specifically, big name brand ones. On Monday we did the LS460. On Tuesday we did the S550, just the W222 in general. Today we're doing the D4 A8. Tomorrow we're going to be doing the 750 Li or 750i. I guess 7 Series in general. We can do the 740 as well as cover a little bit of the 760. And then Friday, I'm still deciding what to do, either between the Rapide or the Maserati Quattroporte. Cool. Let's get on to the features, options, and problems for this car. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Recent. Cool. It didn't mess up this time. And then let me grab a picture. I like this one. Copy image. Make this 40%. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. 40. Perfect. Cool. So the Audi A8, the D4 specifically, was available in the United States from 2011 to 2018 with a facelift for the 2015 model year. These cars are really nice because not only are they super luxurious, they're actually semi-reliable, and in my opinion, the interiors of these cars hold up very well in terms of how they wear over time. And just in general, this car is just a very clean design. Obviously, this is the facelift version. The pre-facelift looks a little bit more dated. However, both cars the interior is pretty much the same for both pre-facelift and facelift. And they're overall a little bit more reliable than the Mercedes and BMW, in my opinion. However, the sacrifice is that this car is said to be a little bit of a more boring, subdued experience. They don't make as much power as the BMW and Mercedes rivals. For any of the engine configurations, they're pretty much at the bottom in terms of power. However, they do get pretty good economy if you're into that. But yeah, let's get into the engine options for this car. We're going to be looking at 5 different engine options that were available in the United States from 2011 to 2018. We have the, these aren't in necessarily chronological order, but we have the 3-liter V6 supercharged, which made 328 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. This is going to be one of the most common engines because it was available throughout the entire pre-facelift and facelift model run. The 4.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 is only available for the pre-facelift cars. This is a good engine. It sounds good. It has a really good history. A lot of people love the Audi 4.2. The variants are seen in other models. You know, obviously it's not the same engine, but the 4.2 is seen in RS5, seen in the R8, seen in the S5. Yeah, the 4.2 naturally aspirated engine is always going to be good. It's just a little bit older technology and might come with a little bit more problems. For the facelifted cars, you have the 4-liter V8. Actually, give me 1 second. I want to actually see, because yeah, so there's a 4-liter twin turbo V8 which was seen in the facelift cars. I really can't remember if they were available in 2014 with the 4-liter V8, because that would be a pre-facelift car. But we'll figure that out. So in other markets, this is inaccurate, but in other markets, the 4-liter V8 was available in 2012 to 2013. However, for what we're looking at here in the United States, there were 4.2 liters at this time. There's also the 6.3 liter W12. This one is going to be the engine that a lot of people want in terms of this car. Like, this appeals to the enthusiast side of the Audi A8 market. They're very rare. Of course, maintenance is going to be a lot more expensive than the V6 or both of the V8s. Parts are going to be harder to find. Also, labor is going to be more expensive. It's harder to work on this car because everything is sandwiched inside this tiny engine bay. And then finally, we have a 3-liter V6 TDI, which makes 240 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. Forgot to mention the power numbers for the W12, 493 horsepower, 463 pound-feet of torque. And then for the V8 twin turbos, the earlier ones that weren't released in the US, I believe, made this much power. But the ones we're going to be looking at made 429 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque, while the 4.2 liter V8 makes a significantly less, with 367 horsepower and 328 pound-feet of torque. Up until 2016, cars were available in short wheelbase and long wheelbase variants. In 2017, they only made the long wheelbase car. They dropped the short wheelbase. I don't know why. All the ones we're going to be looking at are Quattro. All the ones in the United States are Quattro. However, in other markets, they did have front-wheel drive cars. They had a front-wheel drive turbo car. I mean, not turbo, hybrid car. It was a 2-liter. And then they had the front-wheel drive diesel. I'm not sure if they offered front-wheel drive on other engine variants, but I know that there weren't any for the United States. For the facelift, as you can see, it received new headlights, taillights, and front and rear bumper designs. Made it look a lot more modern. And then, as I mentioned, 2017 Plus was long wheelbase only. And then also 2017 Plus, they dropped the standard version of the 4-liter trim. So now the 4-liter trim is only available in sport package. While if you get a 3-liter supercharge, you can get a standard A8. And so what a sport package does is, this is sport. It gives it the sport wheels, sport bumper. It just looks a little bit more aggressive. Cool. That was kind of leading into the options. Let's get into the packages and individual options that you'll be looking for on this car. Because there are so many engine variants, like a lot of these options are all over the place. Some come standard on some cars, some don't. So we're just going to go over everything that we can really find, because it's really hard to discern each individual option. So we're just going to go over all of them. And then when you're looking at cars that you potentially buy, you can actually ask about these things specifically. They should be on the build sheet. Let me get this all good so we can read it. All right, cool. So these are the packages. Let me zoom out just slightly. Oh, it doesn't like that, does it? Cool. I will just keep it at this. So these are the package. Premium package. I'll go over the actual contents of each package in a second. I'll just go over what you need to look for. Premium package, convenience package, driver's assistance package, sport package, Alcantara package, cold weather package, rear seat comfort package, executive rear seating package, extended/full leather package. Extended/full, unlike other cars where those are different trims, Audi uses these two words interchangeably. Drive Select Plus package. You have the Audi Design Selection Package 2012, which is it's like a brown leather interior package. You'll be able to see in a second. Warm weather package, it was available in 2015 and then became standard after 2015. This just, I mean, I'll go over it in a second, but this basically included 4-zone climate control and auto or powered rear side window shades, power side rear window shades. Yeah, which became standard after this. You have the dynamic package available in 2016 plus, the luxury package available in 2017 plus, black optics package 2017 plus, and 21-inch wheel package 2017 plus. So these are going to be all facelifted packages and are going to be on the rarer side because there aren't that many model years to look for. And then some individual options that they also offer are the panoramic sunroof, night vision assist, rear seat entertainment LED headlights, 20-inch 10 parallel spoke wheels, power rear side window shades. This became standard, as I mentioned earlier. The solar sunroof has a solar panel in the sunroof itself. 4-zone climate control, that was part of the warm weather package that became standard. Bang & Olufsen sound system, 1400 watts. This is a really powerful sound system, and I highly suggest that you get it. Yeah, 1400 watts is a lot. You have the Alcantara package, and you have dual pane windows. So lots of options to get on these cars. And similar to the S-Class that we went over yesterday, these cars, they're daily drivers. These cars are for rich people that don't want to be bothered with the inconvenience of riding in an uncomfortable place on their way to work, right? So a lot of them, they're optioned nicely, but they're not optioned to an enthusiast level. And so you're not going to find a lot of these options on most cars. A lot of them are going to be spec'd pretty standardly. And we'll be able to see that in a second. Also, I didn't mention the seat options. You have the standard seats, you have comfort seats, and then you have we'll see exactly what they're called, but you have three levels of seats, and the last level is diamond stitch, and the first 2 levels look the same except for the middle level has a massage feature. I highly suggest you get the diamond stitch seats because they look different. The other 2 options look the same. Cool. Let's look at the options list for this car. So this is the 2012. We can see these are the options. And yeah, so let's zoom in here because it's hard to see. So this is the standard equipment. I'll just go over this once so you know what the actual car comes with. This is the A8 standard equipment, the A8L. Obviously the A8L is going to be a little bit more luxurious, so it's going to have a little bit more options standard. But we have the Audi Drive Select, which is standard equipment. Audi Adaptive air suspension, 8-speed Tiptronic, and the 4.2. That's standard in 2011, the first model year, the A8. For the A8L, you have the leather wrap 4-spoke steering wheel with the shift paddles. This obviously, as it says right here, is standard on the A8L, but this comes with the driver's assistance package. If you want to get all this on the A8, you have the Audi Advanced Key, power rear side window sunshades, parking system plus with the reverse camera, power truck, and power closing doors. So an A8L, as you can see, has a lot more standard features than the A8. And then here we have the options that I mentioned before, the panoramic sunroof. So basically this is a 2-panel roof. You have a front section and a rear section. You have night vision assistant, which is night vision that you look through the gauge cluster. I guess you can see up to 1,000 feet. I mean, night vision, you can see it in a bunch of these luxury sedans. I think it's mostly a gimmick. You have the rear entertainment. A lot of these actually came with the rear entertainment. You'll see a few of them, comparatively to like other models, not many people option the rear entertainment, but for some reason for the Audi A8, I see a lot of options with the dual 10-inch screens. You have the LED headlights. Most cars actually came with the LED headlights in the United States. Then you have the 20-inch 10 parallel spoke wheels. These are like the peelers. So, I mean, in the Audi world, this is peeler wheels. And then we have the power rear side. This is a mouthful. Power rear side window shades. You also have the solar sunroof. As I mentioned before, this is a solar panel on top of the sunroof. You have 4-zone automatic climate control, the Bang & Olufsen system, the Alcantara package, which has a Alcantara headliner, which I think is really good. Hey, shout out to you. I see you too. And a dual pane is also a really good option. However, this is going to be a little bit more rare. All right, that was the 2011. So these are just some of the options to look out for. We're going to look at some of the interior colors as well. The good thing about the Audi A8 is most of the colors didn't change. However, you'll see on this first model year, they didn't really offer any cool exterior colors. As you can see, These were the first colors of the first model year. You got Havana black, Ibis white, quartz gray, emerald black, and Savannah beige. Not too much in terms of options here. And in terms of interior, we got black, or we have Assam gray. Is that what it's called? No. This is called or Valcona leather. This is titanium gray Valletta. Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. This is black. There we go. Black Valletta. This is titanium gray Valletta, nougat brown, and then we have velvet beige. So, in my opinion, these two colors, the black and the brown, are going to be the most desirable. The tan and the gray and the beige are going to be a little bit less desirable. And then, does it show the seats? Let's see. So this is what I'm talking about in terms of the seats. It's hard to really tell, but some seats going to have this diamond quilted pattern. You know, I'll just show you on this right here. So we have the standard seat, the comfort seat, and the sport comfort seat. I suggest looking for the sport comfort seat. You'll be able to tell immediately by the diamond stitching. The comfort seat and standard seat look identical aside from the massage feature on the side. So these are the wheel options. They kind of stay the same. For the first model year, they only had 3 options for the wheels. They had these. Obviously, these are going to be the ones you want. The other 2 wheels, you know, I suggest getting either this one or this one. But they did offer a 4th option for the 2012 model. And then we can see those 4 options carried through for the 2013. 2014 was back to 3 options. See, they didn't have the peelers in 2014, which is interesting. I'm trying to see if they had the sport package in general. I don't know if this one shows the packages. Yeah, this one isn't showing the packages. I'm not sure what happened in 2014, why they dropped the peelers. But here we can see the change up in colors that they started to offer for the 2014 model year. Now we have a green. There is also some blues, along with a plethora of silvers and grays. Let's see what colors they had for this exterior for the 2013. Yeah, nothing really changed. 2011 or 2012. Let's see. There has to be a color palette here somewhere. No, these are just, yep. Yeah, so as you can see for the pre-facelift cars, nothing really special in terms of color, just a lot of blues, grays, greens, earth tones in general. It wasn't until, I think it was 2016. Yeah, 2016, they added the Audi exclusive. So you could get all sorts of different colors now, but obviously that's going to be a more expensive option. Yep, we can see the sport versus standard. And then for the 2017, yeah, we can see the colors stayed about the same. However, they offered a whole lot more wheels for the 2017, or for the facelift model in general. No, actually, it wasn't until the 2016 model year. The facelift started in 2015, but it wasn't until the 2016 model year that they started offering all these wheels. Pretty crazy options that you have here. I see a lot of Audi A8s, the 2017s or 2016 plus, that have these Audi sport wheels from the S8. That's also a cool thing you could look for. However, you're just gonna know that those aren't the stock wheels. I do like these S8 wheels. All 3 of them look really good, especially on the A8. Cool. So we know what we're looking for. Tons of leather options. We have on the first model years, it was just regular standard leather, as you can see. But as we move on to the facelifted ones, we see that they also offer a perforated leather option. And in terms of interior trim colors, we have lower and upper decorative inlay options, tons of wood options. We got 6 different wood options. And then for the lower decorative, we have brushed aluminum / high polished black. I think all these interior colors look good. I just would stay away from the lighter woods with darker interiors. Yeah, that's basically it. I'd say with darker interiors, get a darker wood, and with lighter interiors, also get dark wood. Lighter woods, I don't think look that great. Aluminum or black looks pretty good in my opinion. It really is a matter of preference. Cool. So we know what we're looking for in terms of packages. And then engine options, wheel options, colors. Let's get on to the problems with the Audi A8. Because we're looking at so many different engine options, a lot of these problems are specific to are going to be specific to the engine itself. There are a few that are common across the board. Let's see. I want to bold all. There we go. Make that a little bit bigger. Cool. So we have a sunroof recall, fuel leak recall, and then we have a recall with the seatbelt slash tensioner or seatbelt tensioner slash airbag module failure. All this stuff should have been addressed. The airbag module failure is pretty common in this car, even after the recall was addressed. So you want to make sure that there's no airbag lights. You want to make sure that electronic handbrake works. Is also a problem with these cars. Make sure that it holds itself on a hill or actually functions at all. You also want to check to make sure the MMI system, so the multimedia infotainment, the infotainment system, you want to make sure that not only can you cycle through all the menus and there's not a lot of lag, but also that the physical screen itself works, because the screen actually goes up and down. You want to make sure that the function works and it's not getting binded up or anything like that, because if it doesn't go up, you can't use it. You also have this thing, this issue with the windshield leak. It leaks from the top center, like near where the mirror is mounted for some reason. You want to make sure that there's no water leaking through or excess wind noise. And if so, it might be a cause of an aftermarket windshield. For some reason, this car doesn't like aftermarket windshields. The OEM windshields fit the best, so make sure that you get that addressed. And if there is a leak, I mean, you can fill it with like silicone or something, but it's just a known problem for aftermarket windshields. This car also has issues with audio systems. It's not necessarily the amp, but it could be a wiring issue. Just the audio will cut in and out sometimes. You want to make sure that everything is working fine. And just blown fuses in general, you want to check to make sure all the functions in the car work. There are a ton of things that can go wrong in cars like this. So make sure that you check every single function that the car has. You should check the air suspension. Something about Volkswagen air suspension, they're pretty good. They haven't had much flack compared to like ABC, like Mercedes air suspension or other air suspension systems. The Volkswagen air suspension is said to be pretty good. You just want to make sure that it rides well. If it rides rough, you might either be like have a leak, so the car is just sitting on its bump stops and it's just riding rough, or you might have a compressor issue. Also, you want to check the engine mounts. This car has active engine mounts. You want to make sure that the car doesn't have any weird vibrations. And if it does, you want to make sure that the engine mounts have been like tuned, I guess, from the factory. So you want to make sure you can actually hook up the engine mounts to a computer to upload a different tune on them. So make sure that the engine mounts are good. For the diesel cars, and I guess the 4.2, for all these cars, make sure that there's no chain rattle. That would be a sign of your timing chain going out or your tensioners going out. You want to make sure that that is not a problem, because you really don't want to have timing chains issues on these cars, especially when you pick it up. For the 3-liter supercharged, I guess for the 4-liter too, you have ignition coil packs and spark plug issues. You want to make sure the car runs smooth. This could be a problem on really any car. And then same with the thermostat / water pump. You want to make sure that's addressed. You don't want the car overheating, because that'll just lead to, you know, head gasket issues and stuff like that. PCV valve issues, this also can lead to a rough idle. Make sure that the PCV valve is good. You have the oil pressure switch failure. You don't want that to fail. Basically, yeah, this thing, it will make your engine run bad. 4.2 liter engine has also the timing chain issues, also the ignition coil issues. You also want to check to make sure the intake manifolds are good, those gaskets are not leaking anything, as well as address the carbon buildup. It is a direct injected engine, so therefore the carbon buildup is going to be a problem. It's not as big as a problem on the 4.0 turbo engine. However, the 4.0 turbo engine has its own problem with clogged oil or turbo oil supply lines. This is caused by the filters becoming clogged. Basically, the filters falling apart and clogging the line. So you want to make sure that the oil is not being starved from the turbos, or else that would lead to a huge failure. And this is a 4-liter turbo engine specific problem. Obviously, the most reliable engine is going to be the 3-liter. It's also going to be the most efficient if that's what you're after. If you just want the nicest car to ride around in, and you don't want the headaches or the higher running costs, I suggest getting a 3-liter. The only problem with getting the V6 is that most of the options that you get on the V8s are not going to be standard on the V6, so you're going to have to find a really high spec V6 in order to compete with just a standard V8. Cool. All right, cool. Yeah, we went over that. Let's go through the ads. We got ads, a ton of ads because there are a ton of different engine options for this car. I tried to get a good spread of engine options to show you exactly how they were priced. So looking at a 2012 first, we have a 4.2 car. This is going to be that old school V8 naturally aspirated. Some people actually seek out this car. Other people, you know, it's older technology. But what's special about this car is we can see it has the executive rear package. Let's see exactly the name of that package because I don't want to mess that up. So it's going to be the executive rear seating package. Yep. Power rear single seats with massage and a fixed rear console. That's what we have here with the TVs as well. Super nicely spec'd car, 90,000 miles. It has, I'm guessing it has the comfort seats because it is a highly spec'd car, but I can't tell. So it doesn't have the sport comforts, just the regular comforts. Has a standard wood trim. This is a pretty standardly interior spec car, except for the rear seats. Obviously, this has a good rear seat package. It also has the fridge. Highly desirable right here. We can see it also has the Alcantara package. Very nicely optioned car. What do they have to say about it? Clean title, 2 owners, not really much info. See, something like this, I like the way, I like this ad in terms of the pictures. You got nice comprehensive pictures. I like this car in terms of the spec. Got tons of options here. The color isn't, you know, too spec'd out, but the options are there. I'd say because this car is 90,000 miles, I'd be more around the $12,000 mark because it is still a 2012. But yeah, $12,000 would be a ton of car, a ton of money, or a ton of car for the money. Yeah. Yeah, not a bad example here. Here we have a 2014. This is going to be a diesel car. The diesel ones are going to be a little bit more expensive because they are a little bit more desirable because of the rareness. This was, they were a little bit more desirable a couple years ago when, for some reason, diesels had like this surge in popularity. I'd say like 3 years ago, where everyone wanted a diesel because of the low or the better fuel economy. But diesel prices also went up, so that kind of curbed that enthusiasm, as well as the diesel just being a little bit more harder to maintain than a petrol or a gas engine, simply because you need a more specialized mechanic to work on it. That being said, I do like the diesel Audis. I think they are a good compromise between the very luxurious nature of an Audi and the efficiency of something like a diesel. Not the biggest fan of putting a diesel in this type of car because you do lose the refinement. The car becomes a little bit more rough. The driving characteristics aren't as smooth. However, you're going to have a more efficient car, and in the United States, they do command a little bit of a premium. We have a 2014 with 105,000 miles for $14,200. Not the most spec'd out car. However, we do see some Alcantara here. What does the back seat look like? The back seat has, I believe, the rear seat comfort package because it has these individual seats, but it does not have the center console. Let's look at this one more time. Includes rear, yeah, rear seat comfort package. Yep. This one has a rear seat comfort package, as you can see. See what he says. 3.0 deleted diesel, no engine lights, new brakes, new tires. All fluids are changed, ready for winter. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's in pretty good shape. The spec is pretty standard, black on black, has black wheels with the regular seats. For something like this, I'd be willing to pay, same thing as the other one, 12 grand. It has a little bit higher miles, and the spec isn't as high. But it is a diesel, so 12 grand. Here we have another diesel. This is going to be another 2014, but they're asking 18.9. It has about half the amount of miles, and it has the sport comfort seats, as you can tell by the diamond stitching. It's going to be a blue car. It is also an L. Was this one an L? Yeah, it was. The first one was an. They're all L's. Cool. I like this interior, not the color specifically, but I like how it's a multi-tone interior with this brown and tan. You can see that it has the wood upper dash and the black piano or piano black lower dash with the blue exterior. Yeah, the really only thing this car has going for it is the sport comfort seats, which is a plus. You know, not many cars have the sport comfort seats. And they're asking 18.9 for a 2014. It's a diesel with 54,000 miles. I'd say for something like this, you know, they're not too far off. It is a lower mile car. I'd be willing to pay like 16.5 for this, simply because it is very clean and the miles are low. And it is technically what I call a yacht spec car, blue on tan with the brown trim. So it is something that I would consider as a spec to get. However, it's not up there. It's like maybe top 5 specs. Cool. Here we have a 2016. It's a facelifted car, as you can tell by the new headlights and grille. It has these wheels. It's not a sport model, but it does look pretty good. We have the sport comfort seats. See what we have in the rear. Sport comfort or rear comfort seat package. Yep. Pretty nicely spec car. Black on black. 81,000 miles. You know, a good amount of miles. They want it for 27.4. You know, that's a little bit high because this car doesn't, I mean, besides the seats, it doesn't really have, well, it has the Bang & Olufsen, that's good. But the color is not too fancy. It just has a good seat package. And it also has the rear seat package, as you can tell, because these rear seats are movable. You can see they're not attached. I mean, it is a good spec. It's a 2016, so it will come with more things standard. But for 27, I think that's a little bit too high for 81,000 miles. I'd be more around the 23, 24 range for this car. Yeah, 23, 24 would be a really good deal for something like this. And then finally, we have our 2017 A8 Sport. This is the first model year where they only had the L and they only made it in Sport. So if you want a 2017, it's going to be a Sport model. Looks really good in my opinion, though. We have the rear seat package, as you can tell, as well as the sport comfort seats. Not the executive rear seat package, but it does have a rear seat package, rear seat comfort package, or whatever it's called. In this gray color, only 33,000 miles. This car is really low miles, really nice spec. I'm sure it has a ton of options because it is a 2017. A lot of the packages became standard this year. But for 33,000 miles and 35, you know, they're not too far off because this is a really nicely spec car. It has Alcantara. You can see it just basically has everything. I'd say for something like this, I'd be willing to pay 31 because of the such low miles. 31, you know, that would be a really good deal. This car is, you know, on par with the nicest cars you could ever drive on the road. So 31 grand would be a really good deal. That's something I'd pay for something like this. Cool. Moving on to Auto Trader, we have our first ad. They want 15 grand. It is a 2013 3-liter. So this is the V6 supercharged with the sport design package, as you can tell by the peeler wheels. This would be something you would get if you wanted to get the most efficient version of the A8 while still retaining a sporty look. You guys could see these are the pre-facelift lights compared to the facelift lights. I really like the facelift lights compared to these. I think these look kind of weird, but you know, it's subjective. So like this gray color, we can see it has Alcantara doors, as well as having the sport comfort seats. Let's see what rear seat package this car has. It does look like it has the rear comfort package as well as the rear entertainment package, but it is not an executive car. However, this does have a lot of options. This is going to be an example of a car that, example of a V6 car that I will get. If you wanted to get a V6 car, you got to make sure it's the sportiest it can be and the most luxurious it can be, because those options are not standard, so you actually have to option them. We can also see that this car does not have the panoramic roof. Not that big of a deal. It doesn't have the Alcantara headliner. You can see it's like perforated. It does have Bang & Olufsen though, so that's good. Yeah, this is a pretty good spec car for what it is. I'd say for this, it has 126,000 miles though, so it's a little bit high in the miles. If you could get this for 11 grand or 12 maybe max, simply because it is a really good spec and the miles don't matter as much on these 3 liters as they do on the V8, simply because these are less to maintain. So these are really good engines. 3-liter supercharged, a really good engine, really good spec on this car. If you get it for 11 or 12 grand, that would be a really good deal. You'll love this car. Yeah, it has all the options you could ever want. Rear entertainment, has the comfort or sport comfort seats, it's sport package. Yeah, pretty much a perfect spec car if you're looking for a 3-liter. Moving on, we have a 4-liter. So this is going to be the turbo version of a 2013 with the sport package as well in black. I really like the way this car looks in black with the peelers. Looks really good. Let's see what the interior spec looks like. You can see the Alcantara. It has the sport comfort seats. What does the rear look like? It also looks, I can't tell if it had the panoramic roof or not. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, this has the rear seat package, but not the comfort seats. Not the executive seats, but still pretty spec'd. Again, this one is the 4-liter, so you're gonna have those problems that you want to look out for with the 4-liter specifically. This one is a little bit high miles for the 4-liter in general. Like, you really want to stay under 100,000 miles when you're looking at the 4-liter turbo cars, but they're asking for a cheap price, 13,900, so 14 grand, 120,000 miles. Has the rear view camera. Yeah, this car is it's pretty well spec'd. It's not the most spec'd car, but it is like probably 80% of the way there, and they only want 14 grand. The problem is the miles are high. You have to make sure that the turbo issues have been addressed, as well as everything else that could go wrong with the A8 before you'd even consider this. If you could get this for 11 grand, that would be a steal. I know that's the same price as this one. However, it has more miles, and you can kind of throw in the fact that it is a more unreliable engine, I guess you could say. So it will, depreciate more. Here we have a 2015. This is gonna be a facelifted car with the premium package. It is this. It looks like a blue almost. It's like a gray blue with the brown interior. I really like this brown interior as well as the wood that they use. It's a really unique spec this car has. Not too many pictures, but I just wanted to show you this wood. Not many cars had this wood as an option, especially with a brown interior. They want 20 grand for it. It has 91,000 miles. It's hard to see the exact spec of the car because there are not that many pictures. However, you can tell that it has the comfort rear seats, but it doesn't have the sport comfort package. If you don't know if it's regular, standard, or comfort seats because you can't tell if the massage button is there. I just like the way this car is spec'd in terms of color. Almost 21 grand they want for it. It is a facelifted car, so you can kind of ignore the fact that the spec is a little bit lower because you know that a lot of options are going to be standard. I'd say for something like this, if you could get it for 17 or 18 grand, that would be a really good deal. Under 18 grand for a facelifted A8 with the premium package is going to be a really good deal. I suggest that's something you should look for. Cool. All right, cool. Moving on, we have a W12 example. This is something that enthusiasts want specifically. Has a 6.3-liter 12-cylinder engine. It's really hard to find these naturally aspirated. A lot of the cars with the W12 had the, these are going to be Bentleys. Obviously, they had the twin turbo W12, but these ones had the naturally aspirated one. This one also has a really nice interior spec. It's going to be that brown. And let's see what the rear seats look like. It also has the executive rear seats with the rear entertainment package. Highly spec'd car. This would be something that you should, this would be something like an enthusiast would want. Low miles-ish, 65,000 miles with a really nice spec. This would be a perfect enthusiast car. It would be something I'd recommend looking at. Bang & Olufsen as well. Also with these W12 cars, they came even more spec'd than the V8 cars, both the 4.2 and the 4-liter. So you can really expect most of these W12 cars to have all the bells and whistles. This one in particular looks really nice. I really like the silver trim. A lot of cars had wood trim. This one has the silver and black combo. Well, it does have the wood trim, but it has the silver, wood and silver. Usually they're wood and black, is what I'm trying to say. I don't see anything for the rear sunroof, but it is a executive rear package car with the rear entertainment. I'd assume that these are going to be the comfort seats as well. This is a really nice car. If you're an enthusiast, something I really recommend looking at. There are only like 5 for sale in the country, so this would be something you should definitely take into consideration. It has the nougat brown leather, the Havana black exterior. Yeah, 27.4 they're asking. It only has 65,000 miles. You also got to remember that this is going to be a pre-facelift car, so these are kind of facelift prices. However, it is a W12. For something like this, if I could get it for 23 or 24 grand, that would be a really good deal. That car would be worth 23, 24 for the rest of its life. And you're going to have one of the smoothest drivetrains on the planet. One of the most unique drivetrains on the planet, because not many cars have a naturally aspirated W12. And moving on to our last ad on Auto Trader, we have this 2016 Audi A8 with the driver's assistant package. Good package to have. This one also has a sport package. It looks like it has a sport package. Let's see if they say anything about it. Of course not. Cool. Yep, let's continue on. Let's look at the pictures. Very nice color. It's going to be the gray color. The wheels look, I guess they're aftermarket wheels. They look a little bit wider than usual. But we have sport comfort, as well as a panoramic roof, as you can tell by the dual panes, both actually open. And then we have, this almost looks like, this car almost looks like it doesn't have any rear seat package. However, that can't be the case. It is a 2016. I think it's just the angle. So we have a sport package, driver's assistant package, 2016 for $27,600 with 76,000 miles. If this was a 2017 with all those standard options, this could be a viable price, maybe around 26. However, this is a 2016 with aftermarket wheels. It does have a good interior spec in terms of being the high spec seats. However, there's no rear entertainment package. It also looks like these seats don't move, but I can't tell that off the surface. Yeah, I'd say for this, I'd be around 25 or 24 to 25 grand. I think this car is not, that bad of a deal. I love the way the 2016 looks. And these wheels don't look bad. They're just aftermarket. So if you could get this for 24, 25 and get the stock wheels included, that would be a fire deal. You could either sell these or sell the stock wheels, making either easy 1 to 2 grand back. Moving on to Car Gurus. Here we have our first example, the cheapest example we've seen so far. It's a 2012 with 119,000 miles. This has the 4.2 liter V8. And it is going to be a rear entertainment package car. However, it's not going to be executive package. This is also not an L. It is a regular short wheelbase car. $8,500. It's hard to go wrong for something like this. It's going to have the 4.2 liter V8. You just want to make sure that the V8 is running smoothly. You want to make sure that it's been carbon cleaned. You want to make sure that it has new coils and spark plugs. You want to make sure that the timing chain has been addressed. This has not that, there have been higher mile cars for way more in terms of price. So I'm not too concerned about this. It is the clean title car, no accidents or anything. So if you could get this for, you could get it for $7,500. $8,500 honestly is a pretty good deal for any luxury car, especially this one being spec'd the way it is. can't tell if it has the comfort seats, but it does have rear entertainment, which is a good option to have on its own. 8,500, I say 7,500 bucks would be fire deal, and even if you got it for that much, you could put in an extra 2 or 3 grand to fix it up, and it would be a really nice car. The mileage isn't that high. Cool. Moving on, we have a 2014. We have it's going to be a diesel car, 2014 long wheelbase diesel with the sport comfort seats. You can see that these seats have the adjustable nature. You can see this one's leaning back a little bit more. This is going to be the rear comfort package. So we got some options on here. The color is not that much to be desired. This is in Hawaii, interesting. So you're gonna have some problems getting that over here. But overall, it is very clean for 94,000 miles. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. When I say that these Audi interiors hold up better than probably Mercedes and BMW, look at this car with 100,000 miles. It looks like it has 40,000 miles. Looks really good. Other than that, I don't really see too many packages mentioned. They don't really talk about what is on this car specifically. Yeah, this is a generic dealer description. They want 19.5 for this. It has 94,000 miles. It is a 2014, not even a facelifted car. However, it is a diesel, so it's going to command a little bit higher premium here in the US. I'd say for this, I'd be around 17 flat. It is a nice car, nice spec. You have the sport comfort seats. However, the colors aren't there. And yeah, the wheel choice isn't what I'd like either. And it doesn't have the 4-zone climate control. Yeah, 17 grand for this car, just because it's a diesel. Yep, cool. Moving on, we have a 2015. This is going to be the 3-liter supercharged V6, but it is a facelift car in black. See what the interior looks like. You can see that it doesn't have a sport package. You even see that it's cracked right here. So, and we can also see that it has these standard seats. I can't tell if they're sport comfort or not. They are adjustable though. I mean, I can't tell if they're comfort or just standard, but they are adjustable. Wood trim on black trim, standard interior colors here. This car is not really spec'd that well, if I'm going to be honest. However, it does have the rear panoramic roof. Not a bad option to have. Hopefully this car does have the comfort seats with the massage. That would make it a little bit more worthwhile to consider. But I mean, it is cheap. It's $19,900 for 84,000. I'd say for this car, you'd probably want to stay under like 17.5. It is not that great of a spec. It has some damage on the outside. Yeah, it says it's a clean title. However, look at the way the hood lines up. This one looks pretty good on this side, but that side looks a little bit different, especially right here. So yeah, you want to make sure that you know exactly what's been going on with this car. It is a 3 liter, so it's going to be a little bit more reliable. But that also means that the standard spec isn't going to be as high. As you can see with this car, it's really pretty plainly spec'd car, black on black, nothing too special. Yeah, 17.5 is where I'd go on this one because it is a facelift. Here we have a 2017. This is going to be a sport model. Automatically, you can tell by the rear or the front bumper and the side skirts. As well as it looks like the taillights are tinted. We have sport comfort seats on the inside. Let's see what the rear spec is. So we have the panoramic roof as well as the rear comfort seats. It also has the power sunshades. So pretty well spec'd car, as we can see. The color is not, the best. However, the spec is there in terms of the materials and the options. Pretty standard car here in terms of the interior. Exterior is just gray. They want 25.4, which for 95,000 miles, that's not too bad. I'd say to get it under 20, like under 23.5 would be a really good deal. This is almost at 100,000 miles. Once it hits 100, I'd say it would probably drop down to around 22. So you want to grab this 22 to 23.5 would be a good range to grab something like this. It is a 2017 sport. And when you think about it, for 23.5, you're getting a 2017 car that's like, I mean, it's 2024 now, so it's getting a little bit old, but the technology is still pretty modern. And I mean, it looks modern. Look at, like, this car looks like a brand new car. If you saw this on the road, you wouldn't be able to tell that it is almost 7 years old. And then moving on to our final ad, we have another W12. The pictures on this one aren't too great. The guy obviously was eating some chicken before he decided to take these pictures. But I just need to show you because this one is a pretty good spec. It has the fridge. It has the rear executive package. It also has the mirrors, as well as the Alcantara headliner. You can see it has a black headliner, as well as the rear entertainment package. This car is pretty much fully optioned out. It doesn't have the sport comfort seats. I assume for these W12s they only came with these regular seats, not regular, but the comfort seats with massage. They also have the silver trim. I really like the silver trim on these cars. But yeah, as you can tell, very loaded car. W12 with all the bells and whistles. 31.9 they're asking. It has 103,000 miles. Yep, I don't think this car is worth 31.9. The previous example we looked at, this one right here, was first of all, it was the same model year, half the amount of miles, and they wanted less. And the spec, I think, you know, the colors were a little bit nicer. However, this might have a little bit more options. For this one, I'd be willing to pay up to 27. No. Actually, no. Sorry. For this one, because of the high miles, 103,000 miles, I'd be around 23. The spec is really high, but the miles are also really high. So 23 grand is the most I pay for this. I don't think that I'd actually get this car for 23. Simply because this guy, just based on the way he takes his pictures, based on the spec of the car, taking those two things into consideration, he doesn't really care for you know, he won't sell it for a loss. You know, he wants to get his money back. It seems like a old boomer guy with that boomer mentality. I'll destroy the car before I sell it for the price that you want it for. I don't know if you guys saw where I think the guy was trying to sell his Dodge Charger. It was like a 1970 or something for an extremely high price. He was trying to sell it for like a year and no one wanted to buy it. So he ended up like destroying it somehow. I don't know what he did with it, but he destroyed it and made like a public video. He's like, since no one wanted to buy my car for my asking price, I'd rather bury the car or something. And yeah, he seems like the type of guy who did something like this. All right, cool. That's it for the ads. Again, this car is a really good value for the money. In terms of comparing it to Mercedes and BMW, I'd say that the Audi brand itself is the more sleek, more, dare I say, efficient one out of the bunch. Mercedes is going to definitely be the most luxurious. It's going to be leading the forefront. It's kind of like the leader of the pack. The BMW is going to be the more sporty car. It's going to be, so Mercedes is like a luxurious car that they added some sportiness to it. A BMW is they made a sporty car and they added some luxuriousness to it. And then an Audi is just, they're just sitting in the background and be like, we're good where we're at. We're going to make a nice car. It's not going to be the most powerful. It's not going to be the most luxurious or have the most features, but it's going to be really reliable. It's going to have a really clean, sleek design, and it's going to be understated. That's another thing that people like Audis for. The A8 is probably the most understated out of the bunch. It just looks like regular traffic. That's why a lot of people buy these cars, because that's their personality type. They don't want to be flashy, but they do want to ride in something nice. And because these cars aren't flashy, they do offer a really good deal in terms of price or in terms of value for what you get. I recommend getting a facelifted car simply because they just look a lot more modern and you're not going to have some of the issues of the pre-facelift car. The new facelift cars are pretty much bulletproof, especially if you get a 3-liter. I don't recommend getting a 3-liter simply because I'm an enthusiast. I'd rather get a 4-liter. You have a lot more tuning potential. In fact, if I were looking at a car, I'd look at an S8. However, the price differences between the S8 and the A8 are there. They're big. Also, the S8 doesn't ride as good as the A8, so they're kind of for different types of people. People that buy an A8 just want a comfortable daily driver. S8s are more enthusiasts and they want a compromised vehicle. That's basically what it is. They want a car that does it all, even though that it won't do everything to the best of its ability. It just kind of does everything. Anyway, I'd say get a 2015 plus if you're trying to get one of these, and try to get one with a little bit higher miles. If it's a 2015, you can get a higher mile one that's going to be a little more reliable as opposed to getting a higher mile, lower model year car. So 2015 plus, I recommend getting a sport package car because you're going to get the sportiest look car. However, it's not going to be an S8. You can still get away with some, or at least some comfortability riding on rough roads. Also, if you get the 4-liter, it has huge tuning capacity. The problem is the transmission. A lot of issues stem from the transmission with tuned examples of the 4-liter. So make sure that you're looking at these cars. Just try to stay away from a tuned car because you really don't know if they pushed the numbers, because anything over like a certain threshold will like destroy the transmission. The engine will be fine. The transmission is the weak point of the system. So, if you want to do some tuning, you can with the 4-liter. Just keep that in mind. The transmission is the weak spot. If you want to get a pre-facelift car, you can get a fire deal. You can get them for 10, 12, 13 grand, like in that range for a facelift 4.2. If I would get a pre-facelift car, I'd recommend getting the 4.2. That's going to be the most valuable. Not valuable, but you're going to get the most value out of that model. It also sounds really good. The 4.2 is always going to be remembered as a great engine. It has a heritage. Yeah, and it's an older engine. Technology is a little bit more proven, and there are a lot of parts out there to fix. The newer stuff, you're gonna run into problems that haven't been seen before. The 4.2 has pretty much been addressed and fixed. If you want a diesel, get the diesel. It's just gonna be, they're a lot more rare in terms of production numbers, especially in the US, and you're gonna have to find a specialized diesel mechanic to work on them. Also, with diesel cars, there's a legality aspect of deleting a diesel car. Most people don't care. However, you can get in trouble for it depending on what state you live in. So also keep that in mind. The diesel cars are good. Volkswagen diesel engines are always going to be really good. Even though they did have that issue with Dieselgate, the engines themselves are pretty good. They just pollute a little bit more than they're supposed to, but they are pretty efficient. And they're not polluting more than a semi-truck. So you're good. What else? Yeah, just make sure you get one with a rear seat package. You want to make sure that you get the good seat package in general. I'm talking sport comfort. And then if you are getting a comfort seat, just make sure that it has massage, because they could tell you it's comfort and you're just looking at pictures. You never know. But obviously, if you're test driving these cars, you're going to figure that out. Cool. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the BMW 7 Series review. We're going to be doing around the same model years for the 7 Series. So that will be tomorrow. I will see you guys then. As always, have a great rest of your day and be easy. See you tomorrow. Peace.